When our next guest throws this party, he'll need 3,000 forks. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Embassy Suites Resort at Kingston Plantation. We're focused on the 13th annual American Heart Bowl to be held here this Saturday night. And we're visiting with the Director of Conference and Catering Services. Did I get that right? Carmine Rondinelli? No. The Director of Catering and Conference Services. Damn, I was close at 7 a.m. Starbucks has been brewing that coffee. It is fantastic here in the lobby. Y'all have got a great setup here.
Thanks. We'll need a couple more espressos before we really kick in this morning.
Director of Catering and Conference Services. That's a big title, a big name there.
It's a big title. It's a lot of fun though. It's a great job to have. It's you get your hands on a little bit of everything and all the catering and conventions that go on at the resort.
This place is tremendous, Carmine. Did you imagine when you showed up here a year ago? I guess you came in a little while beforehand, but it is a big layout.
Well, it's spread out, and a lot of our function space is spread out as well. You have not only the Embassy Suites, which is the building that we're in, you also have Brighton Towers, which is just to our south, just across the parking lot there. Brighton Towers has a ballroom as well and some breakout meeting rooms. Arrowhead Court, Laurel Court, some of the lodges that people actually stay in. Underneath those lodges, there's some function rooms, meeting rooms.
Wow.
A lot of our family reunions likes those types of spaces because they could stay in the lodge and then they could have their events, maybe their dinner or lunch event in that room.
Right.
So there's quite a bit of space to cover.
And you have to help staff those areas as well. I mean,
we staff those areas completely. Absolutely.
Wow.
We actually treat events. I mean, we have out at the pool. Palmetto's Pavilion is out at the pool. We can do up to 400 people in that room.
No way.
Over in Brighton, we've done events up to 500-600 people over there. Arrowhead Court, Laurel Court. So we treat each and every one of those like an off-premise catering function. We load up the trucks. We bring everything over there. Sometimes we'll finish some food in the finishing kitchens in those areas as well.
That is fantastic, though, for the accessibility to be able to come back here and work the kitchen or get in here. And is the one right here in Embassy Suites I guess it's the largest facility?
Well, correct. The Kensington Ballroom, which is actually where the Heart Bowl will be held, is our largest ballroom. It's just under 15,000 square feet. We've done events up to 1,200 in there. I think the Heart Bowl is going to be right around 1,000, maybe a little bit under.
Right.
But yeah, we have three kitchens here. We have our main kitchen that services the restaurants. We have our banquet kitchen that obviously serves the banquet food out of, and you also have the prep kitchens, and you have the gourmet kitchen, which is the third kitchen. So in this building we have three, and then we have finishing kitchens throughout the resort where we can finish product that maybe if something's plated and you don't want it to move around in the truck, we'll bring it over there in pieces and then finish it over in the other function rooms.
That is incredible. Sabina Robinson was with us last Tuesday, and she was talking about an almost identical layout that's being constructed or is underway at the Hilton right now.
That's correct. That's correct.
To be able to have events as large as 1,200 or so, I mean, she said the facility there, much like Kensington Ballroom, would be identical.
It'll be very similar. I actually haven't seen all the plans yet. My main focus is over here at the Embassy, but they have a great staff over there as well.
Oh, I'm sure. It is fascinating when you think about a facility like this, 145 acres spread out. I think she talked about up to 1,500 accommodations with the addition of the Royal Palm, I believe, or whatever's being constructed next door to the Hilton. A lot that can happen within this one facility. It's incredible.
Well, it is the largest oceanfront resort in the area. I believe it's the whole Atlantic coast. So,
yeah, I saw that
was what attracted me to this in the first place. I've been here a little over a year now, and that's been my thing for the past 10, 15 years. Has been working in large resorts and taking on challenges like this. This is just it's incredible when you get into the thick of things on a busy week. You can have 8-10 groups in the hotel at the same time.
Wow.
All in different areas, and banquet captains running around all over the place trying to keep everybody happy, and for the most part we do a pretty good job at it.
Oh, absolutely. You can see right now here in the lobby a lot going on even at 7 a.m. as folks are getting moving to the meetings going on. They're spreading out all over the hotel.
Coffee services are rolling.
Yeah, they are. They are. Earlier on, and last week we were here, and thank you again for letting us in last week. I think Sheriff Henry was with us on Friday, and that espresso maker over here at Starbucks was going strong. It was just blowing out.
As soon as we're done here, I'm heading right over there.
I'm sure you're popping right over there. About yourself, Carmine, are you originally from the area?
No, you may be able to tell from my accent. No, I'm not.
A little one, yeah.
I'm not from the Carolinas. I'm originally from Long Island. Grew up there. My family's in New Jersey right now, but I left Long Island when I was 18. I went to spent a few years in Providence at Johnson & Wales University.
Right.
Did that for a few years. Came back and actually started my career with Hilton in Tarrytown, New York. And then from there, was there about 4 years. Did the whole beverage manager, banquet manager, catering manager stint, and went south to Miami and started at the Doral Golf Resort. I was there for about 8 years.
Really? The Doral, that's a real famous facility.
Yes, it was a challenge similar to what we have here. That was a bigger, acreage-wise it was larger because we had 5 golf courses on property.
Wow.
Doral Ryder Open was held, which is now the Ford Championship, was held there.
Right.
But it is very similar. I mentioned it to some people that work here. It's amazing how similar these two properties are, with the exception of a beautiful ocean view here, which in Miami we didn't have. We were inland with all those golf courses. The similarities in some of the function areas are pretty amazing.
Well, just sitting here, of course, having been here the last 2 weeks, right behind us, out there on the ocean. There's a little restaurant right behind us, but last week I was sitting in a different seat so I could look out on the ocean as I was talking to guests, and of course just the whole setup here. It is amazing, kind of behind the scenes what we don't see in a facility like this with 385 rooms and the kind of events that you all put on. And of course, not to take anything away from some of the other amazing facilities up and down the beach, the Marriott, the Convention Center Hotel, folks that are packing them in. You guys are doing it constantly, and it's right on the ocean.
Well, you have a situation like that, especially we all say, everybody that's in the hotel business will tell you, the hotel business is a small industry.
Right.
Everywhere you go, everyone you talk to knows somebody by somebody, and it's not even 6 degrees. It's usually 2 or 3 degrees of separation in this business. But when you're in a town as small as Myrtle Beach is, a lot of the hoteliers will stick together, and if we have a large event, sometimes some of our equipment we may need some additional chairs or something like that, and we could go next door to the Hilton and they'll help us out and let us borrow things from them, and then maybe we'll be a little slow and we can return the favor for them sometimes. It's just a lot of fun. We share stories, and it's a great thing.
I'm sure Sabina talked about that last week, and I think Joe Delaney and Terry Harrelson, I believe, shared with us their incidents. I think it was Terry who had highlighted, for tables, we've got to have 10 or 11 tables of 12 for this Saturday night's event. And he said, if we don't have, we'll be popping down to the Marriott or somewhere to get them, and we'll help them out in the future. And that's great that you all have that kind of camaraderie.
It's friendship by necessity.
Right.
We
There's
need
still
each other. That's
a good,
sure.
healthy level of competition, though, as well.
Absolutely.
The director of catering and conference services really takes on, it's just what it is. As you said, on the catering side, all over, not only here, but all over the property. On the conference side, it's principally just here on, or is it all spread out as well?
It's all spread out. With the only area that I don't really deal with is anything that goes on over at the Hilton Hotel.
Okay,
which is where they're building the Royal Palms and expanding that function space quite a bit over there as well. But no, you can have groups that have. They could have their main function space in the Embassy Suites,
right? And
they could have lunch out at Palmetto's Pavilion and have 400 folks out there.
Wow.
And then, they could have a couple of hundred go over to Brighton for breakout meetings, and we're always running back and forth, and it's just it's a challenge, but it is. You'll never see a day go by. I always joke. I said I looked at my watch. It was 7:15. I had my cup of coffee. I looked at my watch. It was 4:30. And you say, how did that time go by? So I mean, it's amazing. It's fantastic in that way that days go by so fast, and hopefully you got done what you set out to accomplish in the morning.
Oh yeah, at 7:30. That's right. The opportunity for an event like this Saturday night. I know, of course, you've been involved in putting together events even larger than this. I mean, when you're thinking about 8 or 900 or 1,000 folks in a room, a lot has to happen behind the scenes to make it a seamless event. What are some of the things for folks either who've attended the Heart Ball in the past or may have never attended that are going on behind the scenes that they may not think about that y'all do and really make it happen seamlessly?
Sure. Well, that's the fun part of it. A lot of times you'll have an event that is like the Heart Ball, and you have we're actually doing a 4-course plated dinner.
Right.
And when you do something like that, you have to take into consideration, we meet with the chef, Craig Tooker, and he'll tell us, how he's going to prepare the food. What size plates are we going to need? And in this particular case, we needed all larger plates. And, typically we wouldn't need 4,000, 5,000 plates at the same time.
Right.
So that's some equipment that we had to go out and purchase. And if you don't know that well in advance, you can be in a little trouble if you didn't order it in time and get that equipment in.
Right.
When you're dealing with plates like that, it's not something you can borrow. You have your own set of china. So we had to purchase some more china. Same thing with our silverware. You're using 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 forks for one function.
Right.
You have to make sure that we're going to do a salad. We're doing our baby green salad. We're going to serve that with a fork. We're going to need an extra knife for that, and we walk through that. It's are we going to need a fork for dessert or a spoon for dessert? It's all those little things that people don't really think about. That makes it interesting. And if you weren't doing a plated dinner, let's say we were doing a buffet dinner. Well, if you were doing a buffet dinner for 1,000 people, you would have to set up 5 or 6 different buffet lines with everything on it and spread everybody out to go through different lines. Now you're counting how many chafing dishes do we have in the house? Do we have that many?
Right.
So those are the types of things that you have to think about constantly. Chairs. How many chairs do we have? If you're doing one event for 1,000, it's one thing, but sometimes you'll have a meeting for 1,000 here.
Sure.
Then you'll have all those 1,000 people going to 10 different areas for a breakout meeting, and there'll be 100 each, so you have another 1,000 chairs, and then they're going to go have lunch, and you need another 1,000 chairs.
Golly.
So for a group of 1,000 people, you need 3,000 or 4,000 chairs if they're moving around the resort.
Sure.
It's you have to think of those things.
And of course, just having the storage facility to house all the chairs, the tables, everything. I mean, I'm sure all that adds up.
We don't want to talk about that. It's almost like when you're at your house, you never have enough closets. You
Right.
never have enough storage space in a resort. No matter how much you have, you could always use a ton more. But we do a heck of a job. Terry and his staff and just do a wonderful job with moving equipment around and taking care of it. And you move that type of equipment around, it gets to be you're trying not to ding it up. You're trying not to bang it into doors, and you're trying not to ruin the property that you're working in when you're so busy. That's that's a big focus that we have here.
And for folks, and of course, longevity is a big issue. You've got to be the newest guy on site, Carmine. We heard from Joe at a hardball meeting last week or the week before. He'd been here 18 years. Sabina, who was with us last Tuesday, said she'd been here 13 years. It actually started here 16 years ago. Terry Harrelson had been here 12 years. Is that at all intimidating for you with all these
Sabina's so young. We said she must have been born here if she was working here that long. No, actually, it's where I go and where I've been. I've 4 years here, 8 years there. I usually like to stick around for a while.
Oh, sure.
So to be the new guy was hard the first few months that I was here, because it's such a massive resort that you need to have all the answers, and there's so many things to learn. I mean, 3 or 4 months before you learn where everything is and how everything is, and it takes time, and that's why people stick around so long. You get that type of when you've been in a place for that long, you feel that comfort, and you like to stick around. It's a great place to work. Why wouldn't you stay?